one revolution.
Bookmark words on standby.
Log online, fan page loaded and ready.
Player stats, loaded. Health check, go.
Weapons check. Ice check, complete.
We have launched for the Informant podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Informant podcast, your new source for information regarding Mafia Wars from Zynga.
What's up?
Hey. Saturday, Sunday, what's today? I've lost my days.
Where the hell is everybody?
Well, Pete had to go for a wedding, and Jen's probably still reeling in from Britney Spears that she went to last night. Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
And most of us had meetups, so I'm lucky to be awake even. I was partying really late.
Cool.
Big fun. A lot of
So
people really want to do a Dallas one.
I know. Hey,
Even my group of people are willing to go.
Good.
Well,
if you slackers will do it, I'll actually show up and I'll bring a chainsaw or two.
Oh, that's inviting.
We can play catch.
Exactly. Oh, you would be so amazed at the diverse group of people that come to these meetups. It's kind of funny, but interesting. We even had kids at my meetup last night, which was the first. So
Cool.
And
That's
they
amazing.
played, which was really weird. So
Wow.
it was fun. We had a good time though.
Good.
So what's going on with you?
Oh, well, we got some non-Mafia War stuff to do.
Yes.
You know?
Sometimes that's important.
And I think it's going to happen.
Good.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to bring somebody in, and his name is Roy. And Roy's going to talk to us about Sanfilippo Syndrome and about his son, Reed.
Awesome. Well, we were hoping to hear about some of that last week, but your boy got sick in the middle of our show, so we didn't get to listen to...
I know. I mean, we're in the middle of talking. My wife said, come here. And the boy had 103.4, and he'd been having a fever spiking for the last few days. And then he just started this horrible baby seal cough going.
Oh, no.
And so I took him to the doctor that night at like 10 o'clock at night. And he had pneumonia and an earache. So...
God bless his heart. Well, he's feeling better now?
Yes.
Good.
So
good. Yeah.
much
I was afraid we jinxed you because we were so excited that you were there at the beginning of the show, and then you didn't make it for the ending that time. So it's better to have you for the ending, and then we won't have Trader No-Go hijacking your segment.
That I heard.
Mm-hmm.
What was I, shoved into some closet or some brass knuckle bin or some crap like that?
He never fessed up what he did with you, but he tried to do the family life.
Yeah. Well, when I came to, luckily my pants were still buckled.
Thank God.
That's right. No stretch marks, so I'm a happy camper.
Well, apparently he's setting up a fireworks business. And,
Good. Maybe he'll blow himself up.
Maybe. So, yeah.
Trader No-No over there.
Yeah.
All right, so what I want to do now is introduce Roy Zagami. Roy has a son named Reed that my wife has had the pleasure of meeting several times and taking care of at school. And I just want to bring him on because we're going to start a new initiative here at the podcast. So everybody say hello to Roy. Hello, Roy.
Hi, Roy. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody.
So you have a son named Reed. How old is Reed?
Reed turns 4 next month.
Turns 4 next month. Great. Now, Reed is special. Tell us why Reed is special.
Well, Reed's special because he has Sanfilippo Syndrome. And what that means is he's missing he has a genetic defect, which basically makes his body not be able to produce or insufficiently produce an enzyme needed to break down certain materials produced by the body. They're called mucopolysaccharides, but it doesn't really matter. It's just something that all of us produce that we break down naturally, but in him it just builds up. And in his version of the disease, it actually builds up in his brain and central nervous system. So he's grown normally for the first 2 or 3 years of his life, and then at some point very soon he's going to start going backwards, lose the ability to talk, walk, and eat on his own. And unless we can make a difference, he's probably going to lose his life by the time he's 15.
Now, how many people are stricken with Sanfilippo Syndrome?
It's about 1 in 70,000 births, and so that translates to about 50 or so kids a year in the U.S.
Wow. And this is something that he was born with, though.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So it's just something genetic that just pops in and hits certain kids.
Exactly.
And so what can you do to treat this? Is there any sort of
Well,
That
there
makes it
are
better?
other. Well, yeah, we could talk about that. So for other versions of the disease, so Sanfilippo syndrome is MPS 3. There's also something called Hurler and Hunter syndrome. Those are MPS 1 and 2. They're bodily aspects of the disease. So for those kids, they don't grow normally. They have heart, lung issues, bone issues, because that's where their material builds up in their system. And for them, they can actually replace the missing enzyme in their bloodstream. So they can get an IV infusion of the missing enzyme that's been available for about 10 years. And those kids can live a fairly normal life. But the problem is for kids with neurological aspects of the disease, you can't put the enzyme in the bloodstream and get it to the brain. So there's a couple of treatment options that are becoming available. We don't know whether anything will work. One thing that's happening now is they're trying to develop an enzyme replacement where they actually put the missing enzyme into the spinal fluid. So there's something called the blood-brain barrier. So if you put the enzyme into the bloodstream, it doesn't get to the brain and central nervous system because there's something there that protects it. And the enzymes are big molecules. They can't get in there. So what they have to do is actually just put a catheter right in the kid's spine and have a port on the front of them. And then they
So it's kind of like an epidural.
It is. It's an epidural that stays in them forever, right? And then they get a little drug in it every other week, and that's a treatment, right? It's not a cure, and the enzyme replacement is very, very expensive. It's for the kids that get it, it's $400,000 a year.
Oh dear.
And yeah, and that's for the rest of their life, right? Insurance does pay for it because it makes such a difference in these kids' life, and the options for these kids without it, it's a pretty cruel way to go. Actually, it's not a picnic. So
No, how can it be? So they have that, and it just treats it. Does it stop it from progressing, or does it continue to progress?
I don't think they know how well it's going to work, right? It's not proven how well it works yet. But there are other treatments that they believe are going to be much more effective, and that's what we're trying to raise money for the sort of the next thing after that, right? Because the enzyme replacement, the thing that I was talking about, where they actually put the drug into the spinal fluid, that's been picked up by commercial partners. And so any money that we could raise is going to just be a drop in the bucket of what it takes to bring a product like that to market. Where we really need to help fund efforts is in research for new and better treatments that are farther out, right? Things like there's something called gene therapy. Kids with the disease have a pair of bad genes, okay? And so what happens is the body looks at these genes and makes the enzyme. So basically that section of their DNA codes the enzyme, and it's messed up somehow. So there's two things you could do. You can either manufacture the enzyme and put it in the kid in a way that gets to all the tissue that's affected, or you could fix the gene, right? And so there's a technique called gene therapy, which is fascinating. They actually engineer a virus that basically they infect the patient with the virus. This virus inserts the right gene, it knocks out the bad gene and puts the right gene in, and it cures the child.
Wow.
And yeah, it's amazing. And they've actually done it in mice. So they can breed mice with the disease, actually. You can build, they can basically raise a colony.
And those tests are effective with mice?
Yeah, it cures them. Yeah, they live a full normal life after doing it. There is a researcher in Ohio who is
Dr. Fu.
Dr. Fu, exactly. And there's 4 types of Sanfilippo. My son has Sanfilippo A, and then it's basically going to cost about $1.2 million for each type to bring it to human clinical trial. The good news is that a significant amount of money got kicked in for Dr. Fu's type B viral vector, so that each gene therapy virus is called a viral vector. So they have a lot of the funding for the type V viral vector. My son has type A, and so there's funds that still need to be raised for the other types. So there's still work to be done.
Yeah, so to get this gene therapy going, the FDA has to fund a trial, and that's what we're trying to get done now, is to raise money to get this trial started so that if this is something that can cure Reed and all the other kids that are afflicted and will be afflicted in the future, it needs to happen now, and we need the FDA to give approval to it. And that's what we're going for right now. And there's a foundation called the Team Sanfilippo Foundation. And
That's right.
Tell me about what they do.
It's so the Team Sanfilippo Foundation is basically a group of parents. It's an all-volunteer foundation, no paid members. No one takes a salary, and basically its sole purpose is to raise money for research towards treatment or a cure for Sanfilippo syndrome. So I think what makes our cause compelling, one is that, I mean, it kills children, okay, bottom line. Secondly, we know the problem. It's not like one of these diseases where no one can explain to you what the problem is or how to fix it. They know exactly what the problem is, and they know exactly how to fix it, right? So there's something that we can do about it, and $1.2 million sounds like a lot of money to you or me, but nothing. It's nothing in the context of this, right? Saving 50 kids just in the U.S. a year.
Saving a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
One.
Yeah.
Even just one.
But what we found is that using these online contests is a very good way for us to raise money. And just to put that in context, the Pepsi Challenge. Basically, we won the Pepsi Challenge this year. That doubled the money for research.
That's
going
awesome.
toward this disease. So 1,138 ideas were submitted. This was number one.
That's right. And it's something that we at the podcast put out last time. So while it was going, my wife had told me about it because she has taken care of Reed at school. So, and your wife has actually taken care of my son as well. And it's something that I heard of, and my wife said, "Hey, will you do this?" And so I enlisted all of you listeners out there, and you jumped on the bandwagon and helped out. And so for them
now
to
we
get
need them
that,
to do it one more time.
Yeah, I mean, there's no second chances for these kids. They're not gonna get better. So we need all of you to help. We need you just to jump on, and it's so simple. How can they help win this Vivint challenge?
Well, so what we need are a whole bunch of people that are comfortable using Facebook a lot and use applications on Facebook. I don't know if you guys know anybody like that.
Yeah,
maybe one or two.
Yeah, a couple maybe.
Yeah,
and none of these listeners do Facebook.
so exactly. I mean, you guys are really the perfect, audience for this. What we need are people that are willing and comfortable to log into Facebook every day and make 2 mouse clicks, literally. So there's a couple of small steps. I actually wrote a little blog post on my blog that covers some of the steps, and we could share that if that's helpful. It's probably completely obvious to this audience. There's 2 steps. One, you have to go to the Vivint, and that's VIVINT fan page on Facebook. You click like, and then you go to vivint.com/givesbackproject, and then you find Team Sanfilippo. You vote. And basically, when you do that, it'll ask you to log into Facebook or connect their page to Facebook. First time you have to vote, it's going to ask for some permissions. You say, "I give permissions," and then your vote gets registered. Basically, you just go back to that Vivint.com gives back project every day and vote. If you share it to your wall on Facebook, you can just go back to your wall, just click again, and it literally takes 2 seconds every day.
I didn't realize I could be voting every day, so I'm glad you just said that.
Yep, so it's every day. Just put it in because there's other people out there. And right now we're losing by a little over 300 votes. I know that once all of you listeners jump on, you're going to blow this out of the water. It's very simple. I've done it already. I've posted it already on the Informant Podcast website. It's also hit Twitter. It's now hit Facebook. And we're also going to push it off to you Spocktonians. So there'll be a post for all you Spocktonians and everybody that watches Jen and her blog.
Yep, we're going to get Jen to do a nice little article on this too.
Yep, and we're going to throw it over on the wiki, and we're going to get everybody out there moving. And we just need you to vote. If you can only vote once, then vote once. It's probably 30 seconds of your life. And just doing that can save one life, can save 50, can save thousands.
And one of the questions I get a lot is, why is this asking for permissions to my stuff? So it's going to ask for access to your friends and all kinds of information. They do that to make sure that people don't fake accounts, right? Because if people have empty accounts with no pictures, no friends, they're going to know it's fake. So the organization that's actually running this fundraiser is a nonprofit foundation associated with Vivint. It's not even the alarm clock company. They're not going to share your data. They don't send me emails. They don't put stuff on my wall unless I, basically choose to vote and share it, which of course I do. But they're not going to misuse your data. So, I just don't want people to be afraid of doing this because of the information that it's asking for. It's not a problem.
Oh, hell, Zynga's already intruded on our lives, so